Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and to the beginning of this week's reading vlog. I am going to try and see how many reading vlogs I can do in the following months, and I thought it would be great to start with September since, as I mentioned in my September TBR, I'm hopefully going to try and prioritize my physical books this month. I'm still going to be reading on my trusty old Kindle because I can't leave the apartment without it. But this is the month where I finally forced myself to read more physical books, and I thought doing a little reading vlog would be a great way to jumpstart this challenge. So I decided to create a little TBR jar. I know how this looks. It looks sad as hell. There's barely any little papers in here. These are only the books that I am determined to get through this month. However, let's be realistic here. Will I actually read all of these? I know it doesn't look like a lot, but there's 11 in here. Only time will tell. And I'm not going to be too harsh on myself. If I don't end up finishing them, that's fine. And so next month, what I can do is add in my October's TBR in here, and then November's and December's, you get the gist. It will slowly fill up with the books that I was meaning to read and hopefully will get to at some point. And then at the end of the year, I can go through it and see which ones I did read, which ones I gave a shot and just couldn't, and which ones I'm hoping to keep for next year. So yeah, I divided it by colors. The purple ones are my physical books, orange are my audiobooks, and green are my ebooks. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick a purple. I am already reading an audiobook entitled How Male Privilege Hurts Women, and I'll give you little updates of that as well throughout the reading blog, but the main priority is our physical book. So let's go ahead and see what I get. I am just so worried. I really don't want it to be Sense and Sensibility. Okay, a purple one. Is this purple? This is purple. Okay. Oh, okay, wait. I'm nervous, guys. I want to read all of these books, but I don't really know what mood I am in right now, and I really don't want it to be Sense and Sensibility. Can you read that? Is it backwards? Okay, let's see. The Shadow of the Gods. Okay. I'm excited. The Shadow of the Gods by John Wayne. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. Okay. Ooh, I'm so excited. I also know that the third book in the series is coming out in September, I think, or October of this. Yeah, so either this month or next month, maybe November. I'm not sure. It's coming out at some point in the next few months. Let's see what this book is about. I know general gist from Emily, Books with Emily Fox. I think that's her channel. She's my favorite booktuber. I cannot remember her. Books with Emily Fox, I think. She has highly recommended it. I know it's Norse inspired, Viking inspired, epic, high fantasy with huge monsters or huge gods. I think is what attracted me immediately to it. I love how big they are. This is how big dragons should be. This is how big monsters should be. It just makes them 10 times more majestic and terrifying. So I'm excited to get into it. Let's see. It says, when the gods fought, it was a battle so savage they destroyed themselves, leaving nothing but their bones and the broken land of Vigrid. Vigrid? I have no idea how to pronounce that. In their wake. And I think we follow three warriors throughout the story. It says all three will change the course of the world as it once more falls under the shadow of the gods. Doesn't that just sound so epic? I also feel like I need a book. I haven't read a book with dragons in a while. So I'm excited. And I'll see you again once I have some thoughts. Okay, see you soon. Okay, little update. I am about a little bit over 100 pages into The Shadow of the Gods, and I'm loving it. I'm hoping tonight and tomorrow I'll be able to finish it. Between tonight and tomorrow, I'm hoping to finish this book, and I'll give you an update at the end. So far, I'm loving it. I don't really have much to say. I've met all of our three main characters. So far, I have one that's my favorite. The other two are pretty close behind though. And I'm loving the atmosphere. I'm immediately sucked in. And I know I'm gonna love them. I know this is gonna make me cry probably at some point. So yeah. But the main update is that I finished Entitled How Male Privilege Hurts Women. I just finished it about 2 minutes ago, so I'm still wrapping my head around how I want to review it or like rate it, and I'll talk a lot about it. And I'll talk about it a lot more in my September wrap up, I'm sure. But that means that it's time to choose another audiobook. So the audiobooks were Orange. I think there's only two in there, so I'm just Orange. Here we go. This is an orange. Okay, this seems fitting. I am going to be listening to Word. I don't think I'm allowed to say this on YouTube. I don't even know if you can see that. This is good. I'm about to head off to my linguistics class, so I think it will be a good listen. I'm gonna go ahead and start it, and I'll give you guys an update whenever I have more thoughts. I hope this is an okay angle. I do apologize for the light and if the audio is a bit weird. It is raining and thundering, but it's somehow still pretty bright outside. I also apologize for the appearance, the disheveled appearance. I did walk home in the rain because guess who forgot to bring an umbrella when it's rainy season in Costa Rica? I don't know what I was thinking. So I got stuck on campus for so long after my class was over. I did, I took advantage of the time and I read quite a bit. I'm about 70% through Word. It'll be on the screen somewhere. I'm learning so much, and it's also a lot lighter and funnier, especially after having just finished Entitled. And when it comes to The Shadow of the Gods, I am almost done. As you can see, I managed to find a little dry bench while I waited for the rain to subside enough for me to walk home. I did manage to read a little bit while I was on campus, and I'm gonna wait until I finish it to give a full review, but I'm loving it. Also, you probably would have seen I cried quite a bit. By the time I filmed that, I was pulling myself together, but I kind of wish I'd filmed myself while I read that part of the book. I wasn't expecting to cry, so that was fun. But anyways, the update is that I got two new books. The amount of joy that buying physical books brings to me is on a whole other level. It's very different than buying ebooks or audiobooks. Don't take me wrong, I love my Kindle, I love an audiobook, but there's just something so special about buying a physical book and owning a physical book. So, you've already probably seen them. I got Ninth House by Lee Bardugo. I've been meaning to read this duology. Everyone on earth seems to have already read it and has been raving about it and hellbent. So I thought, why not? I found this tiny little edition. It was on sale No, it wasn't on sale. It was just pretty affordable for Costa Rica standards. This was about $14. And I love that it's a tiny edition. And I'm hoping I can find the second one in the same edition. I think this is a perfect read for darker days, colder weather. Because if I'm not mistaken, this is urban fantasy, dark academia, that kind of vibe, that kind of dark occult vibe. And the next book I got was A Little Life. Oh, this book. This book has made its rounds across all of. Oh my god, guys. I just heard someone using their keys, like opening a door. And for a second, I thought it was someone coming into the apartment, which freaked me the fuck out because I know that my little sister is not meant to be home anytime soon. We're meant to meet later on for dinner. So that terrified me. But I have the window open and noise travels really bizarrely in this apartment building. And it's just one of my neighbors coming in through the gate. But I swear, for some reason, it sounded like it was coming from behind me. Oh, I swear I just had a mini heart attack. But, anyways, A Little Life. If you have been on any part of the internet for the past year or two, you have heard of A Little Life. It has won so many awards. Yeah. However, I had promised myself that I would never read this book. I told myself I wouldn't do that to myself, that I had more respect and love for my emotional well being. But here I am. So I thought it would be fun to film myself reading this so everyone on the internet can see my slow descent into a complete emotional breakdown. I know this is gonna devastate the hell out of me, and I am honestly terrified. So I'm not sure when I'll be reading this and when I'll be filming myself reading this. I feel like I need to be in a very good mental state to read it and be ready to cry a lot. So yeah, we'll see whenever this happens, but I'm glad I got it. I feel like it'll be a good reading blog, and worst comes to worst, at least I'll have it on video. And I also just quickly wanted to mention an idea that I have for a little book series, not book series, for a little video series on my channel to come in the near future. Crossing all my fingers. um, I have been wanting to do this for quite a while, and I just need to figure out how I'm gonna do it. But I think I want to start soon. So I want to start filming reading vlogs slash art painting vlogs. I'll come up with a good name for it, hopefully. So I got myself some canvases as well as some paint and paintbrushes. And so my goal is to film some reading vlogs where I take you along not only my thoughts as I read the book, but also how the book itself and the story itself is inspiring me to hopefully create a painting. Whatever comes to mind whilst I'm reading the book or whatever surge of inspiration I get, I'll be working on the painting as I read the book, and I'll bring you guys along the process. So by the end of the video, we'll have one book finished and hopefully one painting finished as well. Back to the reading, I guess. All right, so this is my second time filming this update. I am going to try and recap everything I said before. I think I was running out of storage and something wasn't working. Anyways, I finished The Shadow of the Gods and I loved it. I finished it, I think, about an hour or two ago, so it's still very fresh in my mind. And I'll probably give a way better recap of it in my September's wrap up, just to let everything I feel about it sink in and brew for a bit longer before I fully express how I feel about it. Cannot wait to get my hands on the rest. I am planning to read them as physical books as well, so I'm gonna have to wait until probably the end of October, even the beginning of November, because the third book doesn't come out until October 24th. I have other books to read, so it's fine. And I think it'll be really nice to be able to read the next two in a row, and I'll definitely be filming a vlog just to get my overall thoughts on and my reaction on the last two of the trilogy, and I'm just loving it. I apologize if the angle changed. The filming gods seem to be against me today, but I am pushing through. I am not letting it. I'm finishing this video today. I'm finishing this vlog today. Just to set the scene a bit, we follow these three main characters in a world where gods used to rule. Huge gods, epic, giant, a snake that could cover a whole country, a giant eagle, a giant wolf, a giant rat, and a giant dragon, I believe, are the main ones. There's other ones. There's also like foxes and beavers. They're basically gigantic animals that were gods once upon a time, about 300 years ago, before the book takes place, 200, 300 years ago. And there was this huge war among the gods, and they all died. And when they all died, their battle was so epic and so giant, it broke the world apart and opened up this chasm of darkness from which monsters came out of. So the gods have been dead for the past 200-300 years, but the monsters have been crawling the earth and living amongst the humans and causing havoc. It's a savage world, it's a scary world, it's a dangerous world, and it's hard to stay alive in this world with all these monsters constantly around. And we also have the tainted, which are humans that carry the blood of the gods. So they are the children of the gods that have throughout generations carried their blood. And these tainted are seen as monsters and as less than human, less than animals, and they're usually kept as slaves to take advantage of their power and the fact that they're stronger than normal humans and are able to connect with their tainted blood or with their god blood, their magic blood, and use their powers depending on who their godparent or like god ancestor was, I guess. There's ones that are wolf tainted, there's some that are rat tainted, and their features will change. They're stronger, they're faster, they'll look like the animals when they connect with that magic within them. But once again, they're seen as less and they're seen as horrible and as a group of people that need to be eradicated from the earth, and those that are kept as slaves are taken advantage for their power. And in this world, we follow Orca, Varg, and Elver, our three main characters. I think Orca and Varg are definitely my favorite. I also don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, any of their names. Anyways, we follow our three main characters. I absolutely love both Orca and Varg. They're my favorite. Elver is close behind. I am still on the fence with her. She might grow on me in the next few books. We'll see. But I was definitely looking forward to more to Varg's and Orca's chapters. They were my favorite. Orca is a badass warrior. She left her warrior days behind and hasn't been in battle or hasn't been living that kind of life for a really long time. But something atrocious happens in her life, and she needs to tap back into her warrior self to seek vengeance for those she loves. We follow her journey as she tries to get that vengeance and rescue those closest to her. And then we follow Varg, who just recently became a freed man. He managed to escape from his captors who had kept him as a slave his whole life, both him and his sister. They had no one but each other. And he is out to seek vengeance for his sister's death and ends up falling in with the Bloodsworn Warriors, which are a group of incredibly badass, epic warriors. I ended up loving so many of them. They're funny, their characters are so solid, and I love the relationship between them. and Varg ends up falling in with them as they save his life. So now he also owes them an oath, but his main focus is to seek vengeance for his sister, and he's hoping the Bloodsworn will help him with that task. And then we follow Elver, who is a noble woman that chose to leave behind her privilege and wealth to seek out battle fame and make a name for herself. She doesn't want to hide in the shadows of her father and her privilege and nobleness, I guess, in which she would have been married off to some other nobleman and used as a tool to enrich and strengthen her father's kingdom, territory. There's a word for it. They're not kings, they're something else, which I am now forgetting. But anyway, she didn't want to follow that life. She wanted to be a badass warrior, so she joined the Battle Grim, which are another group of warriors to make a name for herself. And we follow her on this journey of wanting to become someone who has songs written about her, and she wants to leave a print on earth, in this world. She wants to leave a mark. She wants to be remembered as something more than just the daughter of a nobleman. Things, however, may not be exactly as she wishes them for or as she had imagined that journey would be. And we follow the three main characters. I was so excited for their stories to eventually merge, which we do get a bit of that towards the end. It was done in such a good way. That ending, that cliffhanger, it was such a great balance between a cliffhanger that leaves you wanting more and wanting you to immediately start reading the second book, which I'm so sad I'm gonna have to wait. But at the same time, it felt satisfying, and the main arc of the book feels like it concluded in a way. Some things, of course, are left open for the next book, but it felt good. It felt like a well-rounded, good ending for the first novel of a trilogy, and I loved it. I don't really know what else to say. I'll have better if I think about it more. Once I wrap my head around it more, I'll give you a better recap in my September's wrap up, I'm sure. But yeah, that was The Shadow of the Gods, the first book of the Bloodsworn saga, and I'm so excited to read the next. And I also finished Word Tuntun. It'll be on the screen somewhere. I also really enjoyed this book. I am struggling to find things that I can say about it without getting my video taken down because the book covers a lot about the English language and how the English language, wow, I'm struggling with my Invisalign, how the English language has changed throughout time as humans and as societies change and evolve, and we change and evolve, and cultures change, and time progresses, so does language. And the book just really covers how the English language has been changing across time, and a very feminist point of view of the book talks a lot about how we don't realize a lot of misogyny that is interwoven into the language that we use in day-to-day life. For example, something as simple as the term you guys, which I say all the time. I hadn't realized that English does not possess a second person plural noun. Is that what it's called? Yeah, like Spanish has ustedes or vosotros, but English doesn't have that. It's you and it's we. There's no plural for when I'm speaking to to multiple people and it be neutral. We only have you guys or you gals or y'all, and so y'all, I guess, would be like you all would be the plural version of it, and we accustom ourselves to using, for example, you guys to when we're talking to a group of people where there are women and man and non-binary, and it's just little things like that that I found very interesting. I don't understand why English doesn't have a second person plural pronoun. It's so easy in Spanish. I just ustedes. It's formal, it's polite, it covers everyone, it doesn't exclude anyone from it, it's not gendered. And I'm not saying Spanish is better. Spanish is an incredibly gendered language, and when it comes to inclusive language, we have been struggling to come up with alternatives or new words to include into our vocabulary to be inclusive and to not fall back on those very gendered words that are so ingrained in our culture and in our language, and just like we don't even realize we're using them. And that happens with English as well. And I found this book really interesting as someone who is very intrigued and interested in languages, and I'm hoping to learn more languages. I mean, I struggle with English, I struggle with Spanish. I'm learning both German and Japanese and really struggling with both of them. But I love languages overall, and if you are in any way interested in languages, specifically in this case the English language and how it has come to be and what we're lacking in it and what is amazing about it and what's funny about it, the author covers so many topics from misogyny in English to curse words and why they're so funny to say, to our language around sex and sexuality and our bodies and just autonomy and so many things. And it's done in a really, really well, funny, like there's a lot of humor in there. And yeah, I would also recommend listening to it as an audiobook. Again, the author narrates it herself. You can really hear her personality and her intention behind her words through her tone of voice. Yeah, so yeah, I would highly recommend. What else? What else? During this week, did I read anything? Oh, yeah, I also finished The Angel of Khan el Khalili. God, let me just make sure I am saying that right. Yes, I finished The Angel of Khan el Khalili by the same author of A Master of Jinn. It was a very short novella, only about 30 pages, and I loved it. This author is such an incredible writer. Such an incredible world builder. He really manages to build an atmosphere and a feeling to the world in a very short amount of pages, which I think is a craft on itself and an art. I think my sister just came home, so let me just quickly wrap this up. But yes, I also finished The Angel of Khan el Khalili, and I loved it. It was done very well. I'm excited to read more of this author. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and read the other two novellas I believe he has that are also set in the same world, and I'm hoping that eventually he'll come out with a new full-length novel, which I am gonna be ready to devour. And I think that's that on that for this video. I managed to finish those 4 books. I'm really happy with all of them. I would recommend all of them, especially The Shadow of the Gods. If you're in the look for a new epic fantasy, give it a shot. Let me know what you think, and I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, and I'll see you in my next video.